afternoon, good evening. Just gonna set this here so I don't crash. Just wanted to say a few words about the next podcast that we're gonna have. Sorry, you notice I did not shave yet today. But the next podcast will be episode number 14, and it will focus on the master bedroom. And I was hoping to get some ideas from people of what we should cover, since that chapter in my book is literally less than 2 pages. So that's going to be a pretty quick chapter. So I was hoping to get some ideas of what we should cover for the master bedroom chapter. So if anybody has any ideas, please let me know. You can drop them live in this live stream, or in the chat room too. Either one, or I'm sorry, in the comment section. That would be great too. Hey Derek, that will probably be. It won't be till the. I mean, we'll release the next podcast on the 1st of the month. So I'm not sure when we're gonna record it. So it'll be what is, I don't even know what month it is. It'll be March 1st. It'll come out definitely. But we may do a live recording before that. So Derek, if you have any ideas about what we should cover, I mean, there's really not that much, or else it's going to be a really short show. It's going to be like 20-30 minutes maybe. And there's really not that much in them. I mean, what is the master bedroom, right? And that's why there wasn't really that much for me to put into that chapter, as far as just because the purpose of the book obviously is just to get people caught up, right? So I didn't want to go through every little detail, every little thing about the master bedroom. But I do feel like after reading that chapter, I felt like maybe there was some more stuff that I could have put into that chapter. So anyways, Derek, if you think of anything, please let me know. We still got a little bit of time. I think the only real major thing that we cover in the master bedroom is Chris Peck's weed. And hopefully Sophia will be able to join us on that one, and she'll be able to kind of go over the evidence of why what Chris Peck said about the weed could not have happened. But we're going to go thoroughly over that part. Aside from that, I don't know. I don't really know what else to really cover. I mean, there's a few pieces of poop there. There's 2 pipes. There's a bong in the bathroom. There's a small pipe found. There's weed out on the counter. There's some books. The open gun safe too, I guess. The open gun safe is probably, I think the only 2 things in the book is really the open gun safe and the weed that is out on the counter. That's really about it. And it's such a small amount of weed too. So not that I would know, I've never inhaled. Me and Bill Clinton both share that in common, by the way, in case anyone is wondering. Notepad and chewed pin on the floor. Yeah, that's okay. All right, that's a good one. Yeah, because there was a notepad on the floor with that pin. Okay, all right, I'll make a note of that. Yeah, the little bit of dog feces, 1 or 2 pieces of dog feces, which is kind of weird too. Why is there dog feces there? The way, I guess the curtains, somebody had brought up the curtains and how it looks like in the master bedroom, each of the curtains is kind of folded back a little bit. So maybe we talk a little bit about that. But yeah, aside from that, I really don't know. We never inhale. Yeah, see, you too, Derek. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, these people. Of course, that's what you do. I also drink wine, and I don't, and I spit it out afterwards. So it's the same thing. Come on, it's ridiculous. But I don't think David was a big pot smoker or weed smoker. I think that kind of proves it, because he bought such a small amount, and because there's no other weed found in the house either, and on the date that he bought it. The date that he bought it is very important. It does tie into one of the last days that the Crowley family was ever seen. All 3 of them were ever seen. Added no toxology. Not in the tox reports either. No mushrooms, no alcohol, no weed found in the tox. So people that claim that he was going crazy or whatever, no evidence of any of that. No prescription drugs either, nothing like that. I was expecting to find maybe some painkillers or something, But obviously, the question that I keep going back to regarding the talks, now that you brought it up, um, because the bodies were there for, what the police say, the authorities say they were there for 3 weeks. Would anything even show up in a talks report after 3 weeks? So that'll be another thing. Weird. I just got interrupted for some reason, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. That was pretty odd. So hopefully everybody's back, and we'll continue here. But sorry, I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden, stream dropped. So that's YouTube. But so we'll think about whatever else we can cover here. I kind of feel like it would still be in your system. Yeah. Maybe hopefully I can look that up. I'll have some time to look that up. There's just not enough hours in the day for everything. There's way too much happening. So I'll try to do some of that research. I always tell the crew that I'm going to give them note. I'm going to send them a bunch of bullet points of what we're going to cover this month. And I rarely ever do. I think only maybe once or twice. And they're able to, pretty much just keep up. But I do hope to get Steven Sanziri back on too. And maybe even William Rail. Maybe we can get him on as well. I think that would be good. And maybe because it's such a short topic, because there's not that much to cover, maybe it's better to have more people, to try to get as many people on the show with us as possible. Maybe that's the direction that we take. But yeah, I think you're right on that. Seeing if I missed anything. I had a toxology. Yeah, so we'll see what else we can cover. But I might just try to go through some of the photos again and see if there's anything that I missed there. You could look at the trash can in the bathroom, I guess. The red substance in the bathroom that apparently is not blood. I don't know what it is, but it's not blood. It's not. I don't believe it's bong water or anything like that. Resin or residue, stuff like that. Yeah. Thanks for throwing out the ideas. I definitely need some because I don't really have a lot of stuff to cover for this next show. So I think it's, who knows, it could be a very short show. And then other times, I think, oh, this is going to be, this show's going to take 30-40 minutes and that's it, and it can go on and on for like an hour or two. But maybe if we, just by having more people on the show, maybe that'll help us make sure that we cover as many views and as many different things as possible. But like I was saying, the day that David got that weed, December 19th, was the last day that anybody saw the three Crowleys together at the school, at Ranya's school. That was it. Now, there could have been other times, maybe they're not mentioned in the police reports, it's not brought up, never went that far, but that's pretty much, if you just look at the reports, that's the last time that all three of them were seen alive. It was when they picked up Ranya from school that same day that they picked up weed. So they buy the weed. I'm assuming they bought the weed. I don't know. It's not really clear, but it's clear that they bought the weed on that same day. Chris Beck doesn't notice anything strange. So, nobody else notices anything strange at all at the school, but the text messages aren't strange. The emails David is sending between his lawyer aren't strange, and Jason Allen, they're not strange. But we're supposed to believe that in the last months, David Crowley was declining and failing and all this stuff. None of that is true, as we know, based on the facts, not our feelings. So I don't know what else. What else would there be? Obviously, the gun safe. What they did with the gun safe. I know William Rail has kind of brought it up because we've gone back and forth about, well, what type of gun safe was it? Was this a gun safe like a keypad? You hit the third button, second button, fourth button. Was it that? Was it for fingerprints? You know, was it like it had to be a certain person's fingerprints on it in order to open that gun safe? So stuff like that, I think, will be some other interesting things to cover. As far as the gun safe, anything we can find out about the gun safe, I think, would be very helpful. We're assuming the murder weapon was in the gun safe at the time. Why is the gun safe open? It dropped open, weed out, the way the bed looks, everything, you know. What did you say? I assume it's printed and coded. Yeah, it could be. I mean, there's also a key on it too, so you can see that there is a place where you can insert some type of a key into it. So it could be that too. There's a couple sets of keys around the house, obviously. And but yeah, aside from that, I don't know. Well, I know one thing I missed in the chapter about the office bedroom, going back through the photos, was the set of car keys that's in the office bedroom with the title to one of the cars, which shows that they were probably going to sell one of those cars. And who knows, they might have been selling it to the killer or one of the killers or one of the people that wasn't involved in it too. It's just really weird how it's just kind of laid out in there, how the keys are just kind of laid out like that. So lots of stuff that didn't get covered in the first book, but as they say, there's always room for another. And that's another thing I'm finding out too. What type of a format would a second book look like? And I have a pretty good idea of what I would want to do for a second book. And we'll see. Lots of notes, lots of things to cover, but the main thing with this book is just to get the basics, get the facts, stick to that, stick to the documents and all that good stuff as much as possible here. So those are some great ideas, Eric. Thank you. If you think of any others, drop them in the comments. And yeah, aside from that, the way that the closet is, I don't know. We know that that's where you can enter into their attic, but I really want to save that part for the episode that we do on item 57, the basement attic. And I'm sure hopefully other people will help us come and think of some other things that we can talk about. How old does the gun safe look? You know? But I wish we could zoom in enough to get like a good model number. I've seen some that look similar. I haven't seen one where I've said, yes, that is the gun safe. That is the exact gun safe. So we'll see. Maybe William Rail can help us out with some of that. There's a magazine in the gun safe as well. And then I guess the only other thing I can think of is how some things are kind of moved. You know, you see in one photo, there's keys, there's a gun holster, there's a Sharpie pen, all on the shelf underneath the gun safe. And then in other photos, it's all on the floor. So, you know, I guess anytime, I assume that anytime anything gets moved, that they would have to do that. Hey, Carolina. Thanks for joining. Yeah, if you think of anything, please let me know. She says, things don't make sense about this case. Why would you commit a crime and then make the house look like a stage? Yeah, I think that's a great point. And multiple rooms stage scenes, right? I mean, it's not, we're talking about 3 different rooms that look like almost like 3 different crime scenes. And you have 3 notes, basically 3 writings in 3 separate rooms, none of which can really be tied to David Crowley, and none of them can really show that David Crowley is guilty. So it's pretty strange how staged everything is, just laid out for the cops to come in and do a quick investigation, not a thorough investigation. A thorough investigation takes time, and it's hard to tell me that you've done a thorough investigation when at the same time you have accused a United States soldier within 24 hours of finding those bodies. You've already accused him of that and told the public that the public is not in any danger. Ruling out the possibility of other suspects. Best case scenario is that the police lied and they were looking at other suspects and they didn't want to let those other suspects know that they were looking at them. I can totally see that view. That's why they had to come out so quickly, so that whoever the real suspects were would kind of let their guard down, and then the police could go after the real suspects and look at some real suspects. And it doesn't look like that ever happened. So that's pretty sad that never happened, that it never got to that point. But we can only go by what they say and what they do and see what is real, what is true, and what is fake. But you bring up some great points about, if David is supposed to have snapped and everything, it just nothing that we're seeing really matches that angle or that line of that theory. As far as I can see it, it sounds like you're seeing the same thing too. So I don't know how they get. How do they get to the conclusion that David is guilty so quickly? Way before the autopsy, way before the DNA results, before any of the tests have come back, the latent prints. They missed two bullets at that point. It had to come back 2 separate times for it. It's those type of things that I think raise a lot of questions. Stuff you're not going to find in Eric Nelson's film, obviously. You're never going to hear the Gray State team talk about that stuff. Or any person that is gung-ho believing that David Crowley is guilty, you're never going to hear them talk about any of those things. It's just always, speculation, David went crazy, stuff. So that's pretty much all that we ever hear about, right? We never hear about anything else. So anyways, just parking here for a second. So I appreciate everybody joining. Just wanted to kind of go through that and see what you all thought about some of the extra issues. So let's see if I missed any comments. The bullet holes are mind-blowing. Oh my god, all you need is 4 shots. Yeah, right. And so you have the shot in the ceiling that they missed. You have a bullet in the carpet that they miss. You have a bullet that goes into the basement. You have an unspent round. It's all right there. It's all in the living room. Pretty much is the real crime scene, because that's where all of the bullets are. That's where all the casings are. They're either in the living room, they're below it in the basement, or they are above it in the attic. So to me, that's pretty much it. That's your crime scene, and that's all that that's all that would really need to be focused on. And the fact that they missed a bullet hole in the above their crime scene, actually it would be in the crime scene because it's still in the ceiling of the living room, and then they missed a bullet that is in the carpet in the living room. 2 very crucial things that they missed there in their own crime scene. So either they were planted there afterwards, or this was, they just completely missed them. They were invisible bullets, apparently, is what we have here. I was just gonna see if I missed anything else. So what else do we have here? Carolina also says, why is Carolina Rod 18? Why is there bullet holes in the floor or the roof? That makes no sense. Yeah, a struggle, maybe a struggle. Derek says, do you think someone could have already been in the house in the attic? Kind of proves no forced entry during winter. It would be miserable up there to be up there. Maybe. It doesn't look very big. If you've seen some of the photos, it's very small. It's very small crawl space is what it looks like. Maybe 1 feet, 2 feet, maybe that. So I don't know how you could live up there, but stranger things have happened, I guess. Let's see. The footprints look staged and the laptop looks staged. Yeah, where the laptop is just like right there, right? So you have an open door in the back door, and conveniently the laptop is right there. Well, you walk right in, sit right down, right? So yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from on that. The music was playing. The only reason for that is to hide the screaming and the horrendous sounds coming from the house, which is interesting when you talk about the music was playing. The speaker died. So how long would a Bluetooth speaker last? I don't believe it would last very, very long. A couple hours. If you look at even that Boss speaker, a minimum, 10, 12 hours maybe. So maybe they expected the bodies to be found, or maybe that, maybe David was playing something there, but the music would only have been on for a maximum of maybe 10, 12 hours, maybe. That's pretty much it. And so they make it seem like David was playing certain songs. There was a playlist going on, but if you look at the photos of the laptop in the kitchen, you can see that each time it's a different song. So the playlist was still going on, but the Bluetooth speaker had died, and so the music couldn't have been playing for that long. Let's see. Just want to bring to attention the incompetence of the ABPD. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that, Derek. Carolina says, I don't think he did it. The evidence doesn't prove. Looks like a stage crime. Great. Yeah, it's a gray stage. However you want to look at it, either David staged the crime scene or somebody else did. Let's see. Caroline also says, the question in my mind is, why did David not record the last event? He did record his life and not the end. Good question. I think that gets brought up a lot. The documentary makes it seem like David records everything, records all the stuff, but when was the last recording on that phone, on any of his phones? You would have to do two things. You'd have to look at what is on there, and then you have to do a deeper dive, a digital forensic dive to see were there any videos or photos that were taken off. That would be a very important point too. And unfortunately, it looks like none of that. Well, I'm not going to say none of that was ever done, because the police had all of that. They have all that backed up. So they have all the digital files. They have all that. I'm not sure exactly what it would take to prove whether there were videos or photos that were taken off of there. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. If he's gonna film one thing, he's gonna film them all, and he's probably gonna sign something to let people know that he did it, not just leave it open-ended. So that doesn't make sense either. Let's see. Yes, mind-blowing. So much evidence doesn't add up. Derek says, I don't believe someone fought David for the gun. They got the gun before him. It could be, it could be an ambush where David knew them. And that's another thing. It looks like it's possible that he knew whoever was in the house doing this. We don't know for sure. By the time the speaker died, no one was there. Yeah, that could be. So it's a quick thing to just. That would also mean that they would have all had to have died within that number of time, right? Within like 12 hours at the very most. Let's see. Why would David stage a crime? That does not make sense. Definitely doesn't make sense. Slopumentary was not to show all the videos. It just picked out of very out of context. I've had several people mention that when they, and these are sincere people who are like, wow, that's kind of weird. It's when they show it in the film that leads people to think that correlates with when this happened, when those videos actually happen. So when they show the video of Rania, of the daughter, talking about the red man, there's blood here, there's blood there, that's way before they moved into that home on 1051 Ramsdale Drive. When they showed David's wall of all of his notepads, sticky pads, that's like 2012, 2013. It's really, really early on. And even when they show Kamel and what I believe are probably some real paranormal experiences, to me the date on that isn't clear. I don't know if the date is mentioned on the Slopumentary or not. Hopefully it is, because if it's not, then that's very misleading about when that happened, because they make it seem like that happened at the end of her life. I don't really think so. If you look at her hair during that time, it's very, very short. And then, of course, there's hair found all over the house. I can't say for sure, but the only way to be sure would be to find out the date and the time of when Kamel was talking about hearing voices, which did happen at 1051 Ramsdale Drive, and also did happen, according to Kamel's sister, also did happen at their apartment before they moved into 1051 back in 2012 or 2013. So the paranormal experiences were not just, all of a sudden happening at this house. We don't really know how long that stuff has been happening. But again, none of that also helps prove David guilty or Kamel guilty, from what I can see, from what the evidence shows. Let's see. Sloppy Mitch, yeah, this night just picks and choose. Derek says supposedly a month with Kamel's rapture. Oh, a month before they died, so they're placing it in December or November, something like that. That'd be curious. I'd be curious to see if there is any timestamp or anything like that on any of the stuff. Yeah, he would leave proof. Carolina says, I was thinking maybe the brother and the father went there to deliver the gifts, and the brother was in the front of the house, father's in the back. Then it will go down. That's what tells me the gifts left there. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think more. Either the brother dropped them off, didn't know, or it was kind of made to look like. That's another way to keep him quiet, to keep the brother quiet, because he was one of the last people there when the bodies were there too. So I don't know about that. It's really hard for me to and I try to keep my personal feelings and everything out of it, but man, it's hard for me to think that a brother or a father would be involved in something like that. I just have a really hard time going there. And so because I have a very, very clear bias on that issue. Let's see. The gifts left on the store just raise a lot of questions. Yeah, it does. It really does. The $14,000 check, when the police know that there's a $14,000 check there, and at the same time they're trying to say that David and Kamel were running out of money. These cops don't make that much, so they definitely know better. Just with the $14,000 check, not including the bank records, which show they pay their bills on time, they had money, all that good stuff. So, let's see. How do you leave parents at the doorstep and not knock on the door? Window strange. Yeah, there was something going on between the family, between the brothers and the father. They just weren't really that close, but I don't believe there was any major issue either, as far as what I can see. You have in the police reports, David's dad even said there was at Kamel's 5th birthday party in August. David's dad says that David said that he loved him, and he basically found that strange. It's kind of strange. I don't know. I tell my dad I love him all the time, but again, that's me. That's not this family. This family is just not close the way that my family was. So I always have to remember that at the same time. And the same with the brother. It's like there's supposed to be this big, according to the Grace 18, it's this big issue between David and his brother, competition, blah, blah, blah. But, David's brother is the first one that gets David's new cell phone number. So, I don't know. Very strange, people. I'm going to head off here. If you have any other thoughts, any other comments about what we should include in the next podcast, the Master Bedroom, episode 14, we will come out with that on May 1st. Probably do a live recording as we always do. So make sure you join us for both of those. God bless you all. Have a great day.